powerhouse, you guys. We're so lucky to have her. I don't know, some of us can just wake up and roll out of bed, or not even roll out of bed, right? Just 7 o'clock, click on, walk your dogs, whatever, get on the call. And Keely is out here opening it up and putting it all together and getting started and dealing with issues. So it's super cool. But here's the cool thing is lately, Keely has entered a multiple amount of orders, relatively speaking, a fair number of orders. A couple of them have been paid. A couple of them are going through funding. A couple of them are coming down the pipeline. And I've worked with Keely for a long time, both in business and in, on leadership here in Scottsdale. And she's always been consistent with her marketing, and always had, guests here and there, always attended every event, right? So never a lack of commitment to the learning process and the building of her business process. And then, used to place street signs. She would do signs with people. She placed ads. She did warm market. She's done a couple of deals where she had people come to the property tours. It's amazing. She's not a Bob Tierney, like 1,100 people, but she's a Keely Austin with like multiple people that are literally on the fence, ready to jump and then like fall off. And I'm not talking like in the last 6 months, I'm talking about the last couple of years. And if anybody had a reason to really not necessarily quit the business, like altogether, just not show up, but to just be frustrated, maybe not put much effort into it, maybe focus on something else, maybe get another job, maybe focus only on real estate and studying, maybe even have a little bit of a negative attitude at events, maybe back off from leadership or from, serving on hospitality and things. It could have been Keely. All right. Had a lot of reasons to, a lot of just lack of business closing reasons, not like other personal reasons, just, and not that she didn't have those either, but you know what I'm saying? Like the life stuff, but I'm talking about just, this business isn't working. So I'm just gonna, I've got to look at something different, right? Legitimate excuses or reasons. And she didn't. What's interesting is when COVID happened and we started going online, she decided to kind of double down. She made some hard decisions, you guys, and I'm not going to go into those, but she made some hard decisions on which direction she was going to take her business, and in which, plugging into certain events at certain times, and committing to a certain amount of time. And then on top of that, and so I'm not talking about anything new. I'm just talking about taking everything that she'd been doing and then hyper focusing on it, right? And committing to a certain aspect of the business and the events that she was going to attend with her guests. And it's really interesting because in that process, she took the opportunity that we have right now. There's a lot, in my opinion, of extra time. And she took that extra time to do follow-up. And her and I talked a lot. I think she talked to Michael, her mentor, as well, about follow-up. Her and I talked about follow-up. We talked about communication, like literally having conversations with people after they've seen an event. And she's gone back to people that have been to events and re-engaged and spent time making calls, spent time, literally the time that we would normally not spend, and we would look for new people or whatever the case is. And it's paying off. And it's commendable. and so it kind of actually leads into what I want to talk about. Now, the cool thing is I have the chat up. So, I always forget this, or don't always. I forgot this today. 760-533-3141. 760-533-3141. So that's my cell phone number. If everybody needs to ever reach out. And then you guys know my format. I don't have a format. You guys totally know that you can come off mute. You can text something in the chat, and we can go whatever direction your heart desires when it comes to business and real estate and education with Renatus and anything Renatus at all in business. So feel free to go off anywhere you want to go, and we can go there. In the meantime, I guess what I'm getting at is, I was thinking about what I was going to train on. I'm sure we all do. And there has to be value every time. I think, I don't want to just sit here and talk and, you get enough of that at number one, but number two is, if you're going to spend time on this business, I think it's important to get some, to really get some value that you can put to use. So I was going to talk a little bit about the things that I'm doing, and that's working. Now, I will, so cool. So to finish up with this is that I'm not sure what you guys are doing in your business. Like when I heard about Keely's orders, and I'm not going to, I'll leave it up to her, but there's a couple different types of orders that she's put in. One is an EPX combo. I will tell you that. So an EPX combo is pretty powerful. And so the results are there, right? And it's not just over the last week. It's something she's been working on for the last couple of months, right? We've been quarantined for a little while now, 6 weeks, whatever it's been. I was asking my wife the other day, I'm like, when did we stop? Like, when's the last time I went to Costco? Like, I was trying to remember, like, it's so long ago, I can't even remember when I was not doing something out in the world. I don't know what everybody else is doing. I only know what a few people are doing, right? And what's working. But one of the things that I'm doing and what you can see there with Keely is you have this time. And I think that if there's a possibility for you to dedicate some times to go back at old leads and re-engage, and just I would recommend coming up with some sort of maybe lack of a better word, script, but just creating an intriguing question. So we'll talk about that. I just noticed a text, another guy, Brian Beto, Brian too, this last 2 months has put in a AIT combo, a profits and essentials, and another profits. I think it's just the orders are going in that I see, that I know of, that things are happening, and it's because people are taking advantage of this time and people are in need. Like I saw a post on Facebook, and I don't necessarily believe everything I read on Facebook, but the network marketing industry is up right now. I would believe that is true. Given the circumstances, but it doesn't mean that your business is up. So we've got to try to, you guys are on this call, you guys are in Renatus. It's time for our business to be up too, right? So, I've had 4 combo sales this year so far, and about 10 or so profit sales. And I'm trying to think, but my point is the business is pretty decent. Like there's still things happening. Now, I have been working 3 projects. 2 are pretty major projects that I've been working on. And so I haven't even spent the time that I want on Renatus. Like my goal, I'm behind. I'm probably behind by 70% of where I'd wanted to be at this point. So, and part of that is the fact that I have not spent every day making calls, and I've got the time to do it. So Bobby T sent out a text saying they sent out over 850K to the field last week. That is true, Megan. When I was on the Pit Pack call, it was somewhere over 500, and another within another week, 5 business days, it went up to 850. So yeah, pretty amazing. The amount. I did get a little bit of my share of that, which is kind of cool. So that's a really good number, and that was just in about a 2-week time frame, I think. And so awesome, Megan. So so let's make some sense of this. Let's take some action on this. So one of the things that I was thinking about that I've been doing is this. So great job, Keely and Brian and Megan, and anybody else that's having some success. Keep it up. Feel free to share it with us here if you feel like it, and coming out mute or typing in a text, and I can chat it out. So I've been studying a few classes. I don't typically study a lot of the real estate that we have. That's not good or bad. It's probably bad, rather. It's not good that I don't. I've done so much real estate. In my opinion, I have a lot more to go, but I've done a lot of real estate, and I spent a lot of time doing instead of studying recently. But with the time down, I've been studying a few classes, and one of them is Rob Sperry's class on social media. And so what I am doing though is I'm preparing. Like right before, I haven't checked it lately. I'm in the process of a couple business lines. My $2.5 million business line was put on hold out of London. That's coming from Barclays Bank out of London. It's a long story, but they got shut down. A couple of the principals were put into quarantine over there. So I'm looking at another business line. But prior to this crash, knock on wood, take that back. Prior to this incident, I had gained about $80,000 in business credit and personal credit. And I've been talking about this for a while. Like one thing I don't want to do is I don't want to not buy property when property is on sale. Property is always on sale the way we operate, right? I bought a property a couple of months ago for $200,000 less than it's worth, right? Now, however, when the market brings the property down, we still get property on discount, right? So if the market brings it down 20 or 30%, and then we still have the same opportunity, because like the market moves fast, but then in this little bubble, it's slow. So the market goes down 20%. And then in real time, that's the value of the house. It's not what it used to be. It's not what it could be. It's what the value is. But then you apply the same strategy and you get another 10 minimum to 30% discount off the existing as is price. That's what real estate investors do. That's what the education teaches you. So when this happens again, and I don't have a crystal ball, I don't know what's going to happen at the market. Right now, the market seems to be holding strong. I'm assuming that the market will come out of this, especially if we get out of this quarantine over the next couple of months, hopefully the next 3 to 4 weeks. But who knows what the long-term ramifications are going to be? Short, long-term ramifications are going to be of this economic debacle, right? We could see the foreclosures happen after the four-month moratorium. People aren't even going to be able to afford to evict. I mean, who knows? Who knows? I don't want to have to flip property to make money in that time frame. I don't want to not have money to buy houses, right? Everybody's like, oh, if I only had credit or money or knowledge back in the time. And I've said this 1,000 times. So I've been building credit. I've been paying down debt. I've been velocity banking. I have been talking to people in today's market right now and asking them if they're interested in putting some of their money to work in real estate when the market moves, right? So I'm teeing up. I love golf. In fact, I got some specials on golf I'm going to go play. I'm teeing up some investors that I haven't talked to in a while that aren't even investors. They just have money, right? They're just normal business people that have stock or whatever they have for retirement. And I'm asking them if they're interested in lending money on property in the future when the market moves, right? When the market goes down. And so what's interesting is it's also striking up a conversation, as you remember Dane Clark, about real estate and real estate investing. And it opens the door. I'm not asking for a lead right there. I'm not asking for a sale. I'm not asking for an invitation. Absolutely, Megan. I'm totally golfing in Cabo. But I am talking about real estate investing education. So I'm planting a seed for a lead for a future follow-up. I was just talking to someone yesterday about it, right? And so what I'm getting at is I think that if you could be creative in your business over the next, if it's only an hour or two a day, where you're studying a specific class on purpose. If you need to make money flipping houses right now, be at it. Corey Bahar, for example, she's a friend of mine on my team. She just tied up a couple properties. She's still wholesaling. That's fantastic, right? She's also marketing. She just got a combo in. I think it's going to be funded today. Super cool. So she's working both businesses full time. She doesn't have another job. That's what she's doing full time. But if you could strategically study some classes, private money classes, maybe market analysis, maybe investor ID, maybe even some buy and hold strategies, right? In major markets, like our market, our multifamily is off the chain. It's so overvalued, it's ridiculous. Like it's not even, they don't even base their purchase prices on actual cash flow. It's like not an income approach. It's a comparable approach. And if you don't know what that means, it's fine. It's just, you'll get it in some of the classes, but I can explain it. But it's a very interesting thing, that phenomenon that happens here as the market goes up, what people are willing to pay for multifamily out here. So, but when it goes down fast, and the rents are they're still the same. And there's so much value. So studying the multifamily class, I miss this boat, you guys. I mean, you talk about ignorance, and these are the types of things that I'm talking about that you can have conversations with people. The fear of loss sometimes scares the crap out of people. And if you just have the knowledge, if you've never done it, like if I go up to you and I go, you know what? I remember talking to this guy, and he's a pharmacist, and his buddy owned a pharmacy, and his buddy bought this apartment complex. It was 16 units in like 2011, right on Camelback and 19th. So it's a busy part of downtown Phoenix, and I know this apartment. And I think he got it for like 160 grand. Like that is so cheap. For 16 units, right now, 16 unit buildings are selling for $100,000 a door. That's 1.6 million. 10 times what it was worth in the crash. And if you have this knowledge on understanding what is potentially possible in a movement of a market in your major markets, because most of the people here, you guys, we're in Phoenix, Denver, Utah, Vegas, Seattle, right? I don't know about Minnesota. Sorry, Megan. But Chicago, a little bit, not really. But I'm talking major markets where they move, right? The top moved to Florida, Georgia. California, obviously. These places move up and down very drastically, and their price points are very large. And they can, 10 or 20 or 30% of a median household is anywhere from 90,000 to in California, $150,000. So the opportunity is big. And when you mention, if you go to anybody, probably anywhere though, in any market, and you're like, you know what, do you remember the crash? And they're like, yeah. And you're having a conversation with them, and you're like, could you imagine if you don't take advantage of the next crash, right? Like there's nobody you would be talking to that maybe, unless they were under 20 years old at the time, right? They were just going through high school during the crash. They probably don't remember it, but they might remember their parents suffering through it or even talking about it. But there's nobody that would go, you know what, I wish I didn't buy stock then, or I wish I didn't buy houses, right? I don't care if stock or houses, but they weren't prepared. Number one is, even if, you know, when 100 million people are in trouble and maybe they missed a payment or two, got into pre-foreclosure, however many, I don't know how many people filed bankruptcy. It was a lot, tens of millions of people. I'm not talking about those people, but even the people that had money and their jobs stayed with them, and they were in the IT or medical field, they were in schools and stuff like that, and they stayed in. They had money and they had credit and they didn't do anything. Why? They were fearful. Why were they fearful? They had no knowledge, right? But now they look back and go, crap, I could have bought stuff. I was in a good enough position. I have people on my team to this day right now crushing it in real estate. Jim and Carrie LePage, for example. And for 8 years during the crash, when they got stung, they hung it up. Now, they were depleted of cash liquid from the crash, but they were not depleted of their own house, their credit, and things like that. They were able to save that, but they didn't buy. They watched the market go along, and regrettably so. Now, gratefully and thankfully, they lesson learned. They won't let it happen again. They're on fire. They're studying their education. They're marketing the business. They're 5-star qualified. All of these good things. So what I'm getting at is, if you're having conversation, in my opinion, with people in the now about the future, not when it's going to happen, or not, you know, the exact time, but when it does happen, will they be prepared, right? Well, they don't have to be prepared, because if you're prepared and you have the knowledge and you have the skill set, right? And then you could set yourself up for an investor to come in and lend you. And I would say your strategy, if it was up to me and I was coaching you, paid to coach you, I would say you do a short, long-term strategy, 3 to 5 year hold, right? You come out of that you come out of the next, right? The next time. So in 2009, 10, 11, and 12, you might've been holding the property till 15, 16. I don't care if you sold it in 2015 or 2019, you crushed it. You made at least triple what you bought it for in all of those years, right? And we're not going to see, I don't think, a 70% recession, 60, 50% recession on the market, but 30%, right? And you buy it under market and you hold it, you cash flow it, and then you sell it in the next boom, 2024, 2025, I don't know, whatever it is, you're done. Like hundreds of thousands of dollars of profit. You saw that Ryan and Laura Black, right? They just sold a house. They bought that house and I don't remember the exact numbers, but they bought that house 3 years ago, that apartment, that multifamily, right? And they made almost $300,000 on it. So I have, in 2014, 15, I bought my first rental in 13, 14, and then, so there are, and my triplex and so I have 5 properties that have gained at least multiple 6 figures of equity based on when I bought them. And I didn't start buying until 2013 and 14 because I had to make money. I wasn't prepared. I didn't have the knowledge. I didn't have a coach. I didn't have anybody telling me what I'm telling you today. So how does this relate to marketing? The way that this relates to marketing is, if you don't know anything, if they ask you guys what's the market going to do? Transparency and honesty. I have no idea. I don't know what's going to happen. In fact, I hope the market comes out and we just go back on and everybody starts paying rent again and we keep going on with our little boom, because I'm not totally prepared for my crash yet, right? I don't have my $2.5 million line of credit yet, which, if the market comes out okay, I'll have it by the time, we still go up. But when they ask you, right, when you're calling people, I don't care what their financial, if you don't prejudge anybody and you literally call your leads or call people and I'm like, okay, let's get to this in a minute. Let me finish this thought, and then I'm going to get to that, who you're going to call and what you're going to say. So if we think about if people say, you know, what's the market going to do? Transparency and honesty, right? You let them know you don't know. But what you are going to let them know is that you're going to be prepared, right? Because you have 32 experts teaching you about real estate, right? Then if you work on your credit, like literally work on your credit, either go through Credit Nerds or study the classes or do both. If you constantly put whatever money you got coming in on your credit cards, I don't care if they're maxed out or not, start paying them down and then use them back up. I don't care if you got to max them back out again, but utilize your credit, right? Start building your credit. I'm not a credit expert, so know what you're doing, study the class and call Eric. But if you start studying the money classes, right? Investor IP classes, understanding, like if you understand the multifamily formulas and how to evaluate multifamily, and you have a conversation with somebody, like it's crazy that the authority that you're going to have. Now, when you call these folks, right, and you ask an intriguing question, right? Again, if you utilize Dane's 4 buckets, they're going to fit somewhere. Like they may even be scared right now. They might like, there's no way I'm investing right now. There's no way I'd even consider it. There's no way. No, I'm holding on. I don't know. I'm afraid of, whatever it is. Compliment them, accept what they're saying, agree with what they're saying. I totally understand, be compassionate, and then offer a solution. Great. How about when the market moves? How about when we're back to work? How about when the world's out there, right? And you ask them that question. Can you honestly tell me that you would not be better off and that you would not be happy if you just bought one home or if you invested, $10,000 in one stock back in the crash, right? When the market was falling like it was. And every one of those, except some of the financial sector, right? Every one of the sectors in the stock market back then came back up full, right? We went through an 11-year bull market. Right? The real estate market came back up. You guys, it is a fact, and you can tell people this, and you know this because you're in real estate. Real estate has gone 50 years now, even more than that, 52 years, something like that. The National Association of Realtors has been tracking the real estate market. And over time, it's gone up like 5.9. It went down a little bit. It used to be like 6.3. Now it's down like 5.9% per year. Still, over 50 plus years, it's always gone up by 6%, give or take, right? It's always going to go up. We have no fact that it doesn't, that it ends up going back down. It goes up and down on its way up, right? But a sophisticated real estate investor with tons of experience around them, not their own, and then all the knowledge that you have, they understand when the market goes up, when the market goes down, and they buy in any market, right? But when you buy low and you sell high and you buy during a recession or during a pandemic result, and the market is affected, then you double down. So back to marketing. So right now I feel like I've been beating myself up for the last I don't know, month, I guess really since nationals, right? And I got to be honest, you guys, I didn't make the pack. I don't know why, but there's some what's the word I'm looking for? It's not just a number, okay? And I think I hit a lot of the spots, but on the number there are things that they look for. I had a $70,000 month in December, and I only made $160,000. Plus or minus right there, just shy of 160 for the whole year. So the 150 is the threshold. And so there's some inconsistency there, right? So maybe that was it. So so I've been beating myself up on what I need to do and how I need to really accelerate my business, right? And man, I freaking hate when I forget my thoughts, my stupid brain. So the opportunity right now is that for me, I'm studying, which I haven't done much, a little change of pace, right? Pattern interrupt whatever patterns you have, you guys. Interrupt your pattern. Walk your dog at night, instead of whatever you want to do. Pattern interrupts are huge. Pattern interrupt in conversation is huge. So I'm studying a little bit differently. But I am preparing myself for when the market crashes. But what I'm doing is I'm focusing on, I'm not worried right now about buying a flip, fix and flip. I'm not worried about, I'm not looking, but I'm not looking at all. Like unless someone calls me up and says, I got the best deal ever. Like people have called me with, or sent me deals, texted me, called me, been like, hey, I got this deal. I'm like, like there was a deal, for example, I'm getting to a point, but there was a deal that was like, I think it was like 600 worth $1 million. 60 cents on the dollar, give or take 150 grand worth of work, it's possible, right? But I don't know what the market's going to do in 6 months by the time that deal's done. The way projects and stuff is costing and going right now, I told them if I got that house for 400,000, maybe, right? Because it's not worth the time or risk. Right now, what's important is that people are looking for opportunity, and you have a great opportunity, right? People are looking to see what other experts know. If you go on Facebook, and I wouldn't spend much time there, but when you do see some things and you're just doing it for your business, like I'm looking through, people are like, I read one this morning, like, hey, what's your opinion of the market, right? Hey, what are you doing to cope, whatever, right? There's all this opportunity for people looking for opportunity that you have. Ahmed says, hey, Bill, when people post in Facebook real estate group that they want to learn, how would you respond to them? So this is in anything that we do, and this will pertain to what we're talking about today too. And I'll wrap up the last 15 minutes, whatever, with some action steps for what I'm doing and what you could do. And this is one of them. So the first thing that our brain tells us to is answer the question, like to provide a solution. Like my wife will ask me things or say something, and instantly I interrupt her before she's even done talking, and I provide a solution. Well, why don't we I haven't even listened, right? Or I haven't clarified or understood exactly what she's trying to say. It's the same thing with these folks. You don't know what it means when they say, hey, I want to learn. If they say, hey, I want to learn, you're like, oh my God, I got the best, come study this book or read this book. And that gets nice and it's cordial, but there's no value there. You're not an expert. Why would they take your advice? Thanks a lot, but no thanks kind of thing, right? You want to build rapport. So I think that you have to, in my opinion, take your time to develop the relationship with the individual. It doesn't have to take all day. I mean, like months, but in a Facebook group, depending on how often that interaction is going, you might respond with a question. Hey, what have you been trying? You may even humble yourself a little bit and be like, hey, you know what? I'm learning too. What are you studying? Or how are you, what strategies are you looking at? I'm trying to learn wholesaling. Whether you've studied the class 15 times and already done a deal, you don't have to say that, right? Hey, I'm a wholesaler. I can help you out. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. So if you build rapport by asking questions and you have conversation and you're just even if you've done a lot of deals, right? I wouldn't come out and go, I would never come out and go, hey, I've done 150 deals. I could probably help you out, right? Like some people, one A personality might go, hey man, I would want to coach with you, right? But the rest of the people are going to be like turned off, offended, braggadocious, whatever opinion is going to come to their mind, right? But if I'm like, wow, cool, what are you learning? I want to learn too. You know what I mean? They have no idea what I've been, but it's not true. Like I'm always wanting to learn. What are you doing, right? What are you looking? And then you can start to build that rapport. They're going to respond. Hey, I'm looking to learn how to wholesale in this market. I'm looking to, do this. I'm looking to raise money. Have you ever, and then it could be another question, but most of the time we want to provide a solution. We want to provide an answer. We want to get to them to what we're trying to accomplish, which is get them to an event. And if that's our objective, we sometimes fail and we miss the boat, and they may never come, or it's going to take longer to get them there. So I think asking more questions and building a little bit of rapport, and eventually you can take it offline. You can be, hey, I might have something for you, or hey, let me. I don't want to I don't want to sound like an expert. So come offline and let me share with you what I'm doing. Let me PM you something, right? And then you can send them a video or something. Like after you built a little rapport and they're interested, they're like, oh, I'd love to, yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing, and you're having conversation. The thing is, when you're having public conversation in Facebook too, people are watching this and reading it. And then you might strike a nerve right there with a good question or bringing a little value. Not like, hey, this is what I do or anything like that, but hey, I've also been studying. I've learned the hard way so many times. I'm tired of that, right? And someone might go, oh yeah, me too. I learned the hard way, right? And now you've built rapport with something. You've got a dialogue and a common ground with somebody else, right? So that's what I think. So I would look back, and I would look back to who you've invited, and I think someone said this a couple weeks ago. It might have been Dan Clark or Michael even, and I can't remember where it was, but we always say it is better to give birth than raise the dead, and that's totally true. But your dead people may have come alive on their own because of COVID, and you may be able to ask an intriguing question to them to let them know what it is that you're, to see if they're looking at all. Hey, is now a better time to take a look at the opportunity I shared with you a month ago? Yeah, Tyrone, you got a question? Oh no. Okay, no problem, buddy. So, right, and you reach out. Hey, let me ask you this. With all that's going on, have you thought about Renatus again, or real estate again, or business at home again, or whatever it was they were intrigued about in the first place, right? And bring that back up. Hopefully you remember why they were there, what ad they came off of, or how you got a hold of them, and what they were interested in the first place. If it was real estate or business or making money from home, or buying and selling or flipping or wholesaling, whatever it is, right? If they've seen Renatus, and they know the name Renatus, then you could say, hey, the Renatus opportunity, right? Or whatever it is. And you ask that in question. And I would bet that most people will respond greatly. Now, people that may have even said no in the past, but are, 8s, 9s, or 10s, they're people that have a job, that have a business, that have money, that were capable, were able to fund, but didn't fund because they didn't feel like they knew it, or they needed it, or they knew it all, or, they didn't need it at the time. Their life was pretty good at the time. The timing wasn't right. They weren't ready, but they were able, or maybe they weren't willing to do it, right? Maybe they were engineers or whatever, and they weren't willing. And you reached out to those 8s, 9s, and 10s, and you said, hey, I've been plugging along in this real estate thing, and the opportunity, I think, is around the corner. I know you weren't interested in getting the education, but would you consider, maybe some people, or you're consider being an investor on a couple of deals I'm going to be doing. The properties are going to be on sale in the near future, and I think there's a lot of opportunity there, right? And it opens the door. So you want to construct a very short and precise question that's going to drive intrigue. Now remember, when they answer and they text back yes, or possibly what's the deal, as honest as you can be. Oh, I don't have one yet. I'm waiting. I've been working on the education. Perhaps I could give you a call when it's time, right? Or, could you let me know? You want to ask another question. You don't want to just be like, okay, great, I'll call you when I have my deal, is what I'm getting at, right? You don't build a rapport with one question. You build a rapport with multiple questions, true interest in what it is. What would it take for you to invest then? Do you have a certain amount that you might be able to invest, that you would be willing to, if in fact it did happen? I'm not holding you down on to this, but if you chose yes in the future, when I get a deal on, when the market moves, what would you think to commit? So I have an idea of what to look for, right? You shorten that up, but you know what I'm saying? You ask another question, you build a little more rapport. You may even ask, have you noticed, is your money in stock? Have you, and you'll have to feel those questions out. But you guys get what I'm saying? Is like I have a list that I wrote out the other day. I'm literally devoting my time to talk to as many people as possible every single day. Like where I normally would be doing something else in my real estate business, I'm not. Because I believe that over the next, multiple months into the summer, summer's going to happen and there's no school, right? A lot of jobs are not summer oriented, right? I think that there's never not a good time to join Renatus, but I think the opportunity is going to be great. Even as people get back to normal, there's a sting, right? There's a sting and a bite that occurred with the COVID. And I'm not talking about the ones that lost loved ones. That's much worse. But economically, there's a sting, and it's not going to wear off. It's not going to be gone when they take summer vacation. Things aren't going to be like back to normal, like, oh yeah, let's just spend money and go on summer vacation. They're going to do these things. They've been saving some money perhaps on some things that we normally spend money on when we're out and about. Restaurants, you've heard this, gas, food, right? All of those things. But at the same time, they're going to remember. And I don't believe, and this might even be one of your intrigue questions, right? I don't believe that anybody ever, including the United States government, wants to be caught with their pants down again on a pandemic like this. Nobody probably, well, I don't know, Bill Gates or some of these book writers saw it coming, but nobody expected this. And honestly, if you look back, it happened pretty quickly. Like January and February, I was totally fine, right? I mean, I closed a deal in February, a deal in March was putting people in the pipeline. I mean, my team was on fire. We were about ready to get a new office, and it hit, and it was kind of like, not a big deal. That's kind of weird. The stores are filled with people buying toilet paper. I don't get it. It's so funny. And then it was like done, right? I mean, it happened fast, and so nobody wants. I'd be surprised if the whole world doesn't have toilet paper stocked for a year in their house for the rest of their life. Not going to be me, but honestly, you guys, I haven't even bought toilet paper since, I don't even know, February. Fortunately, I had a full thing at Costco when I bought it. I don't know. They're going to remember, and they are still going to be fresh in their mind. The sting and the bite will still be there. And talking to them in May, June, and July, and August is going to create an opportunity for them to supplement, to offset, to take control of finances, and to be ready for whatever comes out of this dust storm. Because, we don't know. I mean, I can't imagine that, putting out a couple $1 trillion into the economy, putting off rents for 4 months. I don't know what it's going to do. I was reading some articles about some of the homeowners. The banks are really not cooperating with home. There's no stimulus for homeowners that own the rentals, right? You either pay your mortgage or, it's going to get reported to their credit. I had a text late last night from someone I know in Renatus that, was like, hey man, I can't refi my Airbnb. I could use your help. Do you know anything? The lender won't extend, and they're over leveraged on this thing. And I got to get back to them today. And I don't know that I have a solution. And that's probably one of tens, if not millions of people that bought Airbnbs based on the fact that it cash flowed with Airbnb and not rental, not long-term rental. My Airbnb's cash flow non-rental. I looked at my Airbnb yesterday in Arizona, and I had 15 cancellations that probably totaled over $15,000 in like a 5-week period. And for most people, that's it. The wound will still be healing and will never be forgotten. The wound will always be there. Yeah, I mean, it's very true. I think time will heal all, but there's some great opportunity to really, so I guess we'll finish with this. Here's what I think is that I don't know what you guys are doing. Like I don't know what everybody does, and obviously we shouldn't. It's our own businesses, but there's a lot of opportunity for people to make money in this business and get 5-star qualified have money in the bank to go to leaders retreat. Everybody on this phone call, I think. And it simply takes just a commitment like Keely did that said, you know what, at this time she was going to double down. Like she literally, it wasn't that she wasn't serious before, because there's been no one more serious that I know than Keely and Brian Beto and Jen Harmon and some of these folks that I know that are having success right now. Corey Bahar. I know I'm missing people. I mean, I could name 100 people, but what I'm getting at is that Keely made this commitment to focus, right? To double down and to take her business seriously in this opportunity time, right? And make calls and get back at it. And so every day you guys could be making a few calls. And I don't know, at some point we have to do something a little, and I'm not saying you don't make calls, you guys, don't get me wrong. All I'm saying is whatever it is that you're doing, double it, right? I don't know, Grant Cardone, 10X it, right? But I think Grant's in trouble. I don't know. I don't know if that's a hoax or whatever. I don't pay much attention. He was a good speaker. And man, he can attract some incredible people to his stage. But regardless of that, put in a little more effort. And what I mean by that is perhaps even take away something that's very important to you. I don't know what that is. For like for me, my real estate is very important. There are times when I have even not done my real estate, knowing I needed to go to the property, and I instead worked on my business. So take away something that's important to you, and then add in an hour of calls. And I'm telling you, I think that the amount of money that you guys can make in the next 2-3 months is your $20,000 a month, your $10,000 a month. It's getting 5-star qualified. I mean, that's what I believe. All right, it's 8:04. Great training. Thank you, David. Thanks, Kilo Bills. Everybody else, you guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out. I hope that made sense. Prepare yourself personally. If you can make an extra 10 grand or so, that's extra money in the bank. But if you can prepare yourself credit-wise, financially, talk to private money lenders, your family, credit partners, anything you can do. When this market moves, man, you buy a couple properties with somebody else's money, you leverage it, you use your knowledge to buy property in a down market, and you hold it for a little while, and you plan on holding it, no matter if it's even got hard money on it, I don't care, whatever it takes, not negatively cash flowing, but of value, you will not regret it. You will be able to sell that property and cash out 100 grand. I mean, John O'Neill bought one of those properties and had a double lot, and he split the lot, and he made $90,000 on it because he waited 2 years. And that was during the down market. He bought it at a good time, bought it low, sold it high. Wasn't like he forced appreciation of 90,000. Yeah, he did some things to the house, but I'm telling you, it was right place, right. Like, I mean, you buy low, you sell high, and you guys have the opportunity to do that. And what's more importantly is you got the opportunity to share this information with people so they can come along the ride with you. And you're the expert without ever doing any deals yet. You're prepared. I'm not buying right now. I'm just holding out because I'm going to wait for this market, right? Whatever it is. If the market doesn't go down, it goes up, even better. Everybody's buying when it's up. Then you can sell more education because everybody's buying. There's win-win-win all the way across this board for you guys if you tee yourselves up. All right, 760-533-3141. That's my cell number. 806. You guys have a great night. I got an hour. Great night. Make it a great day. Make it a great Tuesday. I'll see you on the meetings on Thursday. Love you guys. And Chuck Hodge, congratulations on that deal, getting that baby on the market. Man, that's a book story right there, you guys. Everybody else, congratulations on all your success. I love every one of you guys for being on this call and playing full out and being here and just taking your business serious. Scott Buckholtz, awesome, you guys. I just see Joey. Joey, what's up? Everybody, Tyrone, Thomas, Godfrey, it's good to see you, buddy. Julie Brunzi is always one of my investor partners. Everybody, I love you guys. Brian O'Neill, brand new comma holder. Brian O'Neill and his wife, Candace, welcome. I'm so excited. We just enrolled them this past weekend, full combo. So it's been awesome. Bobby Johnson. Awesome. You got it, man. Upgrade. You're so cool. Jennifer Collier, good to see you, girl. I'm so glad to see you. Call me anytime you need me, you know? You guys are awesome, you and Eli. I'm just checking people, everybody. It's so, Ahmed, great question. Leslie, hi. Kathy, sweet. Rick, you're welcome, my friend. Kim Morrell, always welcome. You're one of my favorites. I love you, girl. I love you guys. All right, man. Miguel, good to see you here. Tyrone, good to have you. Bobby Johnson, always. Grace, Leslie. It's just cool. Thanks, everybody. Make it a great day. Megan, I'll see you on the golf course. That's awesome. All right, you guys. I'm going to end the meeting. Take care. Make it a great Tuesday.